Welcome to Ma'am's Talk, where Ma'am's Talk Survivor. With me, as always, is Jess and a new ma'am. Oh, with the blurred background, ma'am.
So much nicer.
Ma'am, who are you?
My name is Dylan Forgione. I'm a 26-year-old non-binary model living in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, thank you for the
Okay,
space.
thanks for the elevator pitch.
Yeah,
Test me.
no worries.
Is that
This is
your
gonna
model
reach the
slate?
talent scouts.
That's my model slate. Yeah, I've said that more times than I can count.
Yeah, I was like, it was almost too natural.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so later in the episode, our first juror, or like I guess not our first juror because other people come in. We'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
our first merge boot, Zach, will be coming in and he'll answer a couple of questions that we have and we'll gab. So the episode starts and the succulents are talking about how they've only had one tribal council. And Liam comes over.
Yeah. Liam and Dom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were expressly told not to talk to any current players.
Right.
And not only did they not
Yeah.
listen to that, they like went over to the camp, which is like an
Yeah.
extra no. And then on top of that, they revealed game information.
They're both
Wait,
straight
what
men,
game?
right?
Huh?
Are they both straight men?
As far as we know.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Wait, what game information did they reveal? I didn't notice this.
Well, I guess Dom doesn't say anything, but Liam like tells Gabby that Allie said her name. Allie said her name to Liam. That's in the
Wait.
episode.
Oh
Not
my
in this
God.
episode, but it's in a previous episode.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
Oh,
I was like,
yes, I
yes.
remember. And I think Allie is like, hey, aren't you not supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was Liam, like episode 2, right? He did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Causing chaos.
It's like,
and then
now Miss Liam wants to play the game. Where were
Right.
you 3 episodes ago?
He didn't
Yeah.
understand. And
Yeah.
but this episode he says that he's rooting for the succulents.
Yes.
And
Which
Allie says that good because he does the jury vote.
yes.
Right. Although,
And
yeah.
it's also another thing though, because what Allie doesn't know, but I think what you've told Liam it maybe at this point is that he has a chance to battle his way back in.
Yeah. And we've been
So,
keeping that in on this podcast, but
yeah.
like they've been told for this entire time that they might be coming back into the game, so they definitely cannot talk to any current players.
Yeah.
Like, about game stuff, like especially.
Or listen to any conversations. Like even if they're gonna be like a silent observer, they're still gaining information they should not be having. Which, to be fair, Liam does not play in the redemption competition because he has to go to work.
Yes,
but still.
Yeah, but I think there was also talks that he might have not gone to work. Like he was like, oh, I might just like call off or whatever. So
yeah,
it was not set in stone. And then I think he just like kind of made a game time decision that like he was kind of over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Allie's analyzing her game. Moving forward, she's formed an alliance with Caroline and Olivia to eliminate the couple, Gabby and C. And she says that she wants to take Olivia to the end. Why do we think this is the case?
I feel like she's saying this because Olivia has the least amount of connections on the jury, and it seems like the obvious, like, if again, we all have some like a very strong perception that your outside relationships are going to matter a lot. And still at this point, so I think she's thinking that people don't know Olivia, so they might not vote for her to win over like their friend.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I didn't consider that, but yeah, that's probably the reason. Because I was like, why would she want to bring? Because Olivia at this point is performing really well, and doesn't seem like her name is being floated around a little bit, but like not as much as I expected it to have been floated around pre-merge. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice, but it must just be that she thinks that she'll be able to like pull more votes for herself if Olivia's there.
Yeah. And that might be another reason people are keeping her around too, like just the lack of connections. People are holding really high stakes in the connections thing for sure.
Yeah. Which makes sense the first time we do this.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so Olivia has been idol hunting this entire time, like really intensely, but it finally pays off. She gets her idol, and then and then she gives us a little bit of scone lore.
Yeah, the scone is really interesting, and also like I mean, I don't know how much people are thinking about that scone that she put in her pocket, but it's
I
a
mean,
good
it's
thought,
never
you
been
know?
brought up.
Yeah, like it is kind of cool the fact that like if she had like they all think she has a scone in her pocket, but she actually has an idol. But yeah, it was pretty meta gaming for this scone situation.
Yeah.
It's a good idea in theory.
Yes. Like I think Olivia is doing what I failed to do, which is like think about playing the game. But we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like I'm doing nothing of the sort, and Olivia is talking about fucking pastries in her pocket. Like we don't
Yeah.
there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
She's
There's a-
thinking yeah.
There's
She's
a lot of
thinking very
hypotheticals
hard about that.
happening here because
Yeah.
the reason she puts her scone in her pocket is because she thinks that when you guys go to the challenge that you're going to be like laser focused on her scone in her pocket and be like,
Yeah.
she must have an
No.
idol.
Right, exactly. Which
But,
I mean,
like-
I don't know. Maybe some people were. I was not.
You guys couldn't
I
even
certainly
find
was
you
not.
couldn't even find idols that were like hidden in like the first tree at your camp.
Yeah,
I
we're
will-
certainly
yeah.
not going to find it in her pocket. Like
I will say in her defense on the show, though people are looking. People are looking in people's pockets and thinking about people's pockets. So,
For sure.
you know,
Yeah.
Fair.
we're just, you know,
Some
we're all
people with
just
less
oblivious.
time.
Yeah.
So people aren't really focused on the pockets here.
But also like in real life, like that could be we all have items on us that you would not
Yeah.
necessarily have in the on the island, you know. It's like I'm
Yeah,
carrying around my
I had like 3 Go macro bars and mace in my pocket. Everyone was out here. Well, you never know. I don't know. All those Christian singers, I thought that they were going to start throwing hands. You never know.
Yeah. We get our first bathroom scene as well. Many more to come.
Mhm.
Yes.
But Olivia is reading the idol, and I just think whenever it's in the bathroom, it's like extra funny because like people
It
can
is.
come in and she's like whispering about like
Yeah.
And it's like
In the
echoing
public
in
space.
this, and it's like it's literally like the dirtiest, dingiest little park bathroom.
The
I really
nastiest
like the
bathroom.
bathroom scenes. There, some shit went down in the bathrooms later on. Like that kind of
Yeah.
became, because I think that at this point people are starting to have to pee, so there's and like
Mhm.
get water, and we're realizing this is going to be an all day fucking affair.
Yeah.
And so like we start using the bathroom as this like little spot.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. It does
Yeah.
truly. It's a pungent smell.
Disgusting
Yeah.
bathroom. I also used the men's room at one point. So horrible. I hated it. It
I
was
don't think
just
that
so
this
bad.
is a little. This is a little tidbit. I had a conversation recently with someone because I realized that unlike me, most people have only ever seen a women's room or a men's room. I don't think that women understand how like abysmally awful men's rooms are in comparison. Like they'll be like, "Oh, women's rooms are so nasty." I'm like, "No, they're not. No, they're not." Like
Mm.
I walk into a women's room, there's no urine on the floor. Like
Yeah.
it just smells like a bathroom. Men's
I-
rooms, it's like there's no toilets. It's like they're just peeing all
They
over
just
the
pee
fucking
wherever.
Yeah.
countertop. Yeah.
Yeah, well, men always have soap because they don't wash their hands. So
Well,
true.
yes.
I think they
True.
also did use the men's bathroom during this. And it was
like two
truly
two
disgusting.
stalls. Yeah.
Yeah.
And women's rooms always have longer lines.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, enough about the bathroom. So yeah, we get a Caroline confessional. We finally get a little bit of like thinking from her about where her head's at. And she explains Allie's plan to get CJ out. And she's like, well, like, it's a good idea, but Allie thought of it. So
Yeah.
she's gonna take credit for it, and I'm not gonna win if I do that. So
Yeah.
she's thinking maybe she's not gonna go along with this.
Yeah. I really liked this from Caroline. I liked again, if we're talking about metagaming, like, but from a more like strategic social standpoint, I thought that was like really interesting. And I also like that she's like clearly thinking about her individual game and her path to the end.
Yeah, so smart. Again, things that were just not even crossing. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense if you like took the time to sit down and like think it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan was no thoughts had empty, clearly.
Not to say that
No.
people can't like come together with a plan. Like CJ still might be the most like beneficial for both of their games, but it is good for her to be thinking like, is this good for me, or am I just going along with whatever Allie wants?
Right.
Yeah.
And if she has multiple paths to the end, it totally would like theoretically be worth it for her to like veer from this plan because it's worse for Allie, or even just so she can take credit for the move.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get more Dom and Liz being sneaky. Not Dom and Liz, Dom and Liam.
Just yeah.
Liz, I don't know what she's doing.
She's chilling.
She's getting food or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Dom
I think
and
she was chatting with the Christian choir.
Probably.
Yeah. They were doing a bake sale. I saw she was snacking on some snickerdoodles.
There we go.
Just goodies.
But yeah, there's like, we can't be here, so take us off camera.
Yeah, take me off camera.
It really blows my mind. And not to spoil anything about Skinny Alice, but next season there's also a little bit of breaking of the rules that happens, and it blows my mind that people don't understand that they're being filmed.
Right.
And
like
that Kay is the one who will be
like, it's gonna come back to me. I'm gonna see.
We're also like, we're all hanging out for like a span of 12 hours in like a pretty small area of the park. Like it's not, this isn't, you're not being secretive.
Right. Yeah, nothing is a secret in this world that we're living in here.
No.
Yeah. So that happens, whatever. And then we go to the challenge, and finally it's time to drop our buffs.
Finally. Oh my god. And I'm like ready for it. I'm like standing there like, get this shit off my neck.
We had been so, I remember and maybe this is because I don't know enough about Survivor, but I think that other people were also just so eager for the merge. I think because we didn't know how many were going to be in the merge. Like we were only starting with what, 12? So I think that a lot of people were thinking like it's going to be 10 the way it is on actual Survivor, but obviously it wasn't. It went on a little longer. But I remember even after like the second or third challenge, we're out here talking about like, but if we go into the merge, it's like, girl, relax. Like you're not going anywhere. Just shut up. Which obviously is what that's me talking to myself.
Right.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was that I was sure, like, this redemption twist I was not thinking of at all. And so when we got down to 8, I was like, and it was me, you, Dylan, and Zach. I was like, it's obviously merge time. Like, I was like, you can't tell me otherwise that it is not time to merge. So when Dylan, then we get down to 7, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, yeah, because that's crazy. Merging at 7 is like, what's happening here? But obviously I was thinking about these things, and the outcast twist is revealed, and everyone steps forward except for Liam because he has to go to work, and we get started on the chain challenge. That is an iconic challenge.
Oh my god.
Dom gets out immediately.
Yeah, honestly, watching that back, it was really crazy to see like the variance between like Dom did not stand a fucking chance, which was so upsetting.
And he he waited that whole time.
I know, he waited all that time.
And then Ella,
and that's what he gets for cheating. Okay.
Well, true. Yep. Yeah.
He said take me off camera, and we took him off camera.
And we did.
Permanently.
Yeah. Ella doesn't last that much longer, if I remember, but
I think hers was more like she just got in her head. I was like, you can't move, and she was like, okay.
Yeah. And I also don't think of Ella as like an endurance challenge girly. So I didn't see it. I thought that it was gonna be me, either like me and Dom or me and Liz battling at the end.
Yeah.
Which it was.
Liz surprised me with her resilience. I was not like expecting her to be so willing to hang on.
It's also it is funny because she's not intense at all.
Yeah.
She's not really. No.
A silly time. And she still is like gobbling as you would call it.
Yeah. No, she was really giving me a run for my money, but I was not going anywhere with that fucking
team. I have a feeling you could have stayed up there for like a really, really long time.
I think I could have too. In fact, I should have. I should have, just to like prove a point.
And that would have put a target on your back.
Yeah, and that totally would have kept that target off your back.
Exactly. And that's why I didn't. Yeah. Because I was thinking.
Yeah. Can we also talk about Liz's scream when she drops?
Oh, of course.
Yes. It's like she's like frightened. She's like, oh. I'm like, girl, you're the one who dropped it.
A
You did
high-pitched
that.
scream. It's the same scream that she had during the bandana challenge.
Of course. But this
So
time the
funny.
Christians are gone.
Yes, so they can't be mad at her.
No one telling us to move. Oh, I will miss the screams. Yeah, so Dylan wins, he's back in the game. And you're also given a yin yang idol.
I am. And imagine my fucking confusion. We were talking about idols. I was like, American? That's the only idol I know. Or the idol with Lily Rose Depp. I'm familiar with that idol. This idol, I was very confused. Talking about yin yang. Also, I'm like, yin yang is so like 2015 Tumblr. I'm like, I don't even think we can say that anymore. But but I guess there's room for everything. And so I was very confused about what that meant. I think I still am to this day. But I guess like and in this episode, I had no idea what I was going to do with it, because not only did I not know how it worked, I also didn't know how to like play a strategic game. So yeah, I mean, we can get more into that. Should I? I don't know if I should talk about who I end up giving it to yet, because that happens
Certainly
later.
not.
Certainly not. I do want to say that I thought it was a quote I wrote down from you was, this immunity fucking charm thing is what you called it.
This immunity fucking charm. That's what it was to me. I was like, these are just little charms. Like, we're again children's games.
Yeah. And then we also get the first instance of, I just feel like I have a huge target on my back.
Oh, it never gets old, does it? Wait, this was the first time I said it. There's no way.
I think it was.
I think it might have been the first one, at least on camera. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
And you say it, I think 3 times in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that once I came back, coming back in feeling like vindicated and like people are really like looking, they're like, oh, that bitch shouldn't be here. It's just like it is on like Drag Race. Like every time I watch Drag Race, the girl who like has come back, she doesn't last more than 2 episodes, like ever. They're always like, okay, well, there's a reason you left. You have to go. Bye.
Right.
So I was worried about that. And I was also thinking a little bit of like, well, now there's not that many. What was our team's name? Not the Succulents, but the
Dragon Fruits.
Dragon Fruits.
Yeah.
I was like, there's only 3 Dragon Fruits. So we're already, being a Dragon Fruit is already an issue because you're stacked against, like the Succulents are just stacked against you. And then on top of that, everyone's like, why the fuck are you still here? So that was, I think, making me really anxious.
Yeah. I think you winning that challenge definitely like could have got people looking at you for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So before we get into the challenge, just a couple of things happen. Olivia finds another idol. Zach helps her with it. She tells her alliance about it. So they know that her whole tribe, but basically everyone knows that she has 1 idol, but they don't know that she has 2 because of the scone.
Because of the scone.
Which we cannot.
They were smelling white chocolate raspberries, and they thought nothing of an idol.
Well, she threw out the scone, so now there's a lack of scent happening.
So true. I wonder if that was gonna. Yeah, no one thought about the lack of smell from Olivia's pocket.
Yeah, honestly, throw out the whole cast, all idiots.
But Olivia has this is actually, I like this from Olivia, like she reveals the 1 idol to show like some sort of like trust or camaraderie with the rest of her tribe.
I agree.
Like, she still has a little secret in her pocket, like in case.
I agree. It's a nice little way to be like, ooh, look, I mean, I know that she was probably showing it off because Zach caught her finding it, but I think it was good to be like, okay, well, look, I have it, and so give me just 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. No, but I agree. Like, she's like, oh, I have it. Like you can trust me. Like I'm an open book kind of thing.
Yeah. And she also has like, she's also made it very clear at this point that she is an extremely honest player. So I don't think anyone has really like had any reason to distrust her. She like, it seems like she's an open book to the outside viewer for sure.
Yeah. I also noted during this conversation that everyone is seen eating, and this is because we actually had a Survivor auction.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I was gonna say I did not realize we didn't film the auction.
Oh, it was filmed. It was just
Oh.
not interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, everyone did that thing where like everyone who's only seen Modern Survivor did the thing where they wait for the last item, which is just an advantage in the next challenge or a clue to an idol. And Kay was like, guys, please, this is your lunch.
This is lunch. Food.
Start bidding on things.
To be fair, there was going to be the clue to my necklace. During
Oh,
this.
but
And
that
the
had
It wasn't
watermelon.
gonna be like, I have a clue, let's bid on it. It was
Yeah.
gonna be hidden under the watermelon. That's where I was
Which
gonna.
I purchased, by the way. I purchased the
So
watermelon.
you would have gotten the clue if
Yep.
if
Oh,
someone
yeah.
wasn't
And
like a smarty pants on your tribe.
yeah, and I think about that.
I don't think about anything.
Dylan's like, I have not thought about this since I walked off Central Park.
I haven't had a thought since like 09.
What was the most significant thing that happened that year?
In 2009.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Is that when you
2009 I was,
graduated, like 6th grade?
yeah, probably like middle school. So pretty significant, I would say. No, I
Yeah.
was no, not even 2009. I was probably graduating elementary school or
That's what
something.
yeah, that was my
Yeah. Wait, 6th grade was kind of iconic. I was wearing a lot of Hollister and a lot of concealer
Oh.
that was not my shade.
That feels right.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
it
rite
was
of passage.
true. And now bitches are using drunk elephant like at 10 years old. Can we talk? Well, we don't have to talk about that. I just want that to be acknowledged. What's up with 10-year-olds on TikTok and drunk elephant? Anyway.
They have access. That's what it is. But yeah, okay. So the auction is a flop. It's not even included because everyone's just like sharing their food anyway, which is like
Yeah.
That
I
part
had been
too.
I had been eating the entire time. Like
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we were eating like I had only eaten Zach's rice cakes. You know, I was having the real Survivor experience. I also bought stuff that I wanted to use as bartering chips. So I bought the Trulies, not planning to drink them, but I shared one with Olivia, and I thought that was going to you know, really make things happen. But everyone ended up sharing everything with no strategic merit at all, and it ended up not like seeming to matter at all.
Well, in
Yeah.
the real show, they say that if you purchase something, you can't like share it with people unless expressly like you both bid on it together. Which I mean, partially my fault here. I could have tweaked the way that this was like done, but
Yeah.
whatever. You guys weren't like starving on an island, so I think that's what it
Yeah.
comes to.
Yeah, that's
it's
why I
just-
felt like the Trulies would be the best thing, because I was like, oh, maybe someone really wants a drink right now. And everyone seemed excited about, like, some people seemed excited about the Trulies, so I was like ready. I truly only got them so that I could share them and use them.
I truly only bought them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Olivia says that the Succulents Alliance is strong, and then Gabby says something really interesting to me here. She says that they need to stay together because they can like help each other out and pick up each other's slack in the challenges, which simply is not a thing in the
Yeah.
individual stage. Like, how are you gonna help each other out?
Yeah.
Wait, Gabby said that about Olivia?
Gabby said that like their like succulents group, they can pick each other's slack up in the challenges.
Oh,
Well,
right. Which
And I was
Yeah.
like, how would you do that?
The only thing I'm thinking of is if there's like a social challenge where you target people. That's good to have a big alliance for. But like the individual challenges, you can't actually like help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the challenge starts, the first individual.
Oh wait, I did want to say something about this conversation. I did think it was interesting because CJ mentions that he thinks that the dragon fruits will try and use, I can't remember if he says me or the dragon fruits as like a general sense of a group, but he says that he thinks that we're going to use Allie and Caroline to get like into their group, which I just thought was interesting because those two were the people that I talked to first when we merged.
So they
and I was
that.
yeah. So it was pretty
the
obvious.
connections.
Yeah, it was the connections.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so challenge begins. Nothing crazy is happening here. There's, it's a 1v1 until we get to a winner. I just thought one thing I noted here was that Olivia's holding her paddle up like this, which I think is interesting. I don't know what the strategy was there.
She tried. Well, I think she thought no one could swat it, but like obviously her body is still available to be hit. And then she has less like stability up there too.
This was a weird challenge because I really flopped for probably the same reason why other people did, because I was thinking so much about getting other people's bottles to fall that I wasn't paying attention to the fact that I was waving my paddle around like I was playing fucking tennis.
Right.
Like, so, like, I'm pretty sure that in the first round, a big part of the reason why I lost was because my paddle was like completely vertical. Like, there was no balancing my own bottle. I fucked it for myself.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of my performance in this challenge. I feel like I had really good control over my bottle. And this is like the best I had performed in a challenge thus far.
I also say, because you're doing well, that you have the wrists of a 65-year-old.
Yes, and that is true. And I also was using my left hand, even though I'm right-handed, for that reason. So I think that helped me. I remember like being in the sidelines being like, okay, I think I'm gonna go for it and use my left hand. And then obviously
because your wrist hurt?
Yeah, no, because my right wrist is my bad wrist because it's like my most used hand. And I was like, I need old reliable here with my left hand.
Yeah, so nothing really crazy happens. Allie wins immunity. She's safe.
Yeah. I do just want to say also that round between me and Allie went on for a really long time. And I think the main reason that I fell in that is because I got so tired of us playing like we were just going in circles. I got so bored of it. I was like, okay, I'll just try and fucking hit her bottle off, and it screwed me.
So she wins. And we get some cross tribal conversation finally. And Zach is the plan now. And Allie wants to get the girls together to get CJ out. That's what she is saying, but I know that they approached you, Jess, and I think this was not
No
camera.
Yeah, no. I don't believe CJ was ever like actually the plan. I think that was solely the decoy plan. I wasn't approached by anyone. I went up to Caroline, was told extremely obvious that she was not being honest with me about it, or like at least like willing to like talk more strategically. She was like, yeah, we're gonna do CJ. The girls are working together. And then
hold on, pause, because I wrote this down, and I think Allie does say this. So this is a true thing that she wanted. This is like a confessional moment from her. She wants all the girls to get together to vote out CJ next round.
Right. Yes. She was like, Zach, if we get rid of Zach, and then it will be like the girls will have the numbers, like, which they already do. But anyway, yeah. And then I talked to Allie, and I'm like, hey Allie, I really want to work with you. And she's like, oh my God, me too. And she's like, we're gonna get out CJ this round. He's like way too big of a threat. And that was like,
oh, I was just gonna ask, what was the reason why Zach was the first dragon fruit target? Like, I think I was confused as to why it wasn't me, given that I had like just come back in.
I think that they saw that you were clearly at the bottom of our group of three. And I think that Caroline's information about Zach was pretty much that he's a really big Survivor fan, he's really strategic, and he'll do whatever it takes to win. So I think that's the information they're like operating on. And I think that was enough for them to be like, he's got to go first.
Yeah, that's fair. And because I guess they're probably thinking, if I get kicked off, then you and Zach have each other and will like support each other, whereas me and you were already a bit fraught because of the way that the voting had gone.
Yeah, and once Zach's gone, I think the thought is now you're both kind of on an island.
Yeah.
So
instead of like us being a duo, like me and Zach would have been.
I think so too.
Yeah. And
so
then
there's like a little girls alliance happening, maybe. At least
Yeah,
that's
and
what it's told to you.
sorry,
What do you say?
I said, at least that's what's told to you, is that there's like a little girls' alliance happening.
Yeah, I actually was not really like told about the Girls Alliance until like right before Tribal, but I'll talk about that
Okay.
after we talk about Zach.
So we get to Dylan. He is building some rapport with Gabby and CJ. I feel like you're kind of like warning CJ that he might be a target, or like both of them might be a target. What was your thought there? Were you just like, oh, like I have no reason to lie, or was there any like strategy behind your?
I think that I was probably thinking about the Girls Alliance. I'm pretty sure that once the merge started, CJ had caught me up on that as a little bit of a warning. And it seemed like Gabby was, because she was in the couple with CJ, was probably like of the Girls Alliance of, I guess it was Caroline, Allie, Olivia, Gabby, sort of. Gabby was sort of the odd one out of that group. And so I think that my thinking there was to try to get in good with Gabby and CJ against the Girls Alliance to like build a little, because I knew that Gabby and CJ wouldn't be able to like stay afloat on their own. And I think that kind of, I mean, I don't remember exactly how things went with Gabby, but I know that I feel like this was the start of what I felt like was myself trying to build more of an alliance with CJ.
Yeah, and I see that here. I feel that they're receptive to it. I think you do a good job of showing you're not like a threat and not necessarily gonna like just blindly stick with Zach and Jess.
Yeah, that was another thing, was like making it clear that I was not going to just be sticking blindly with Zach and Jess, because I knew that we were just going to get plucked off one by one, but also because I wanted it to be fun. And see, I think CJ felt the same way. There were a couple of confessionals, both in this episode and previous and future episodes, where he was like, let's shake shit up. Like, let's do something that's a little bit kooky and different, because this is getting boring. And I agreed. I was like, let's like rejig the system here so that this doesn't get stale, and that the Girls Alliance doesn't just go from like episode 6 to episode fucking 13. And so
And speaking of, CJ now gives a confessional saying that he's willing to work with the other tribe, so that is very real. I wonder if your conversation helped in that, or if he was just already thinking about it. I don't know.
Probably a little bit of both, if I had to guess. I think he was already wanting to, because it seemed like he already wasn't trustful of Gabby. Like he didn't really want to be associated with her too much. So he was willing to throw her under the bus. And he knew that he wasn't going to be good in the Girls Alliance. And so he was probably like, all right, well, what do I have to do to like stick around here? Maybe it's trying to build a little bit of like power and resilience among people that I haven't actually worked with before. Because I think that within his tribe, he wasn't really, he just wasn't quite as safe as some of the other women were.
Yeah, I think he is threatened by the women. I think that's fair. And he says Olivia's too comfortable.
Yes, he says Olivia's too comfortable, and I also think the fact that his main alliance is with Caroline and Allie, and then there's still this Girls Alliance happening who clearly has the numbers over him, I think is a huge like red flag for him.
And I feel that they're not doing a good job of hiding it.
No, and like obviously he's been told that because of like insider info from the Bad Bitches Only Alliance, but I think that like he also is clearly picked up on it in every other sense as well.
Wait, who's the Bad Bitches Only Alliance?
That's Caroline, Allie, and CJ. They were like a day one, round one alliance. Yeah.
Oh, classic.
Like, wait, why was I not involved?
I'm like, that's weird. Who's bad in there? Maybe more like the Sad Bitches Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then the conversation happens with you. You, Zach, and Dylan. So all the girls are having a conversation. The non-women are all talking in their little corner. And you're like, like record me right now.
CJ, Zach, and Dylan are talking.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right? Okay. Yeah. No, it's not, but it's fine.
Oh, what I said.
You just said you, Zach, and Dylan, so I didn't know if you were talking about me.
Sorry. You get
Wait,
it. You
me,
get it.
Zach, and CJ had a conversation.
CJ.
Yeah,
Was it
this
was that the
while
conversation around just like being scared of the Girls Alliance and figuring out what the fuck to do?
yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the girls, and you're thinking about maybe taking one of them out because you're all gonna get like plucked off.
Yeah.
Basically, what's happening.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure at this time is like literally all the girls are in a circle at this point, if I'm remembering right.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that when me, Zach, and CJ peeled off, it was just the rest of the cast members who were all in the Girls Alliance.
Yeah.
So I don't really. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of what the fuck we were thinking. Like, what was I trying to do? Because if I thought I had a target on my back,
Mhm.
then I guess I was assuming that the Girls Alliance was coming for me. But I don't know. My guess is that I probably like heard whisperings that they were going for Zach or CJ, and then I got comfortable and was just like, okay, and then did
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say like your name I didn't hear a single time. So I think you had the read right that them two were the ones being talked about for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zach
and
is like,
also-
really pleading his case here.
Yeah, he's really trying to get CJ to flip on Olivia. Which is smart because like CJ clearly is concerned about Olivia specifically.
Right. And then he keeps saying this. He's just like, well, then we can go to rocks. And
Yeah.
there's like no reaction on your face, Dylan or CJ. And that's because he's using Survivor terminology that like you gotta be a fan of Survivor to know.
Yeah.
And
Rocks
doesn't
does
really
not happen
explain
that
how
often.
it works.
Yeah.
What do you think
And-
Rocks is, Dylan?
Well, I think I know what Rocks is now. Isn't Rocks the one where if it's a vote and let's say there's 4 people voting and it's tied 2-2, and then I don't know, something along the lines of like it basically becomes like a randomized elimination because
Yeah,
people
pretty
can't come to a
much.
consensus.
Yeah,
Pretty
this does come
much.
up a little bit in Scan, but at this point, I don't think either of you have a clue.
No, yeah.
But
No one has
No.
talked about Rocks at all.
not at all. So his idea is that you, him, and CJ, and then they'll try to get one more person. I think the thought is Allie would flip, or maybe Jess would.
Yeah,
vote,
I don't know.
vote
I
for
actually think
Olivia.
yeah, I think it's interesting that they didn't see me as automatically being a part of that group. Like Zach didn't see me as that, but maybe he just was trying to downplay the trio or duo that we were having to CJ. Like he was probably trying to be like, oh, we'll try and flip one of the girls. Who do you think would flip up with us?
Because I want to
Yeah.
explain.
Sorry.
For the people who don't understand.
Yeah.
And then the 4 girls, other than whoever the one that would flip it, would vote for Zach, right? So
Yeah.
the thought is, once it's a tie, it'd be a revote. If it's still a tie, then it goes to rocks, which would mean that Zach and Olivia are safe, and everybody else just randomly draws if they go.
Yeah.
So that's his idea. What are our thoughts on this? Good plan, bad plan?
My thought is that it is a good plan based on the position that Zach is in, because I think it's kind of like, I think that it's truly throwing things against the wall, see what sticks, because like, at least from my individual conversations I had, I'm having like no luck getting through to anyone, even the people that I thought would be the most likely to like want to work with me as an individual. I wasn't even trying to pitch me and Zach as a duo. I was just really trying to like get correct and relevant information, and I couldn't even get that at this point. Like I was being totally left in the dark. So I think that like it probably is one of the only ways that this is gonna happen in theory.
I think this is a bad proposal because even if CJ and like Allie or whoever like will vote for Olivia, once they hear from me that they might randomly be sent home because of a fucking
Right. Why would
they're gonna flip their vote?
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like, why? Like, it's not like they would just keep the tie in the second vote, because then their standing in the competition is in jeopardy.
Yeah, 100%. The revote is not going to happen to go to rocks. Yeah, I agree.
But I think if he had actually wanted to move forward trying to get Olivia out, getting you and Allie, I think is a decent idea because he does like kind of clock that Allie is on the bottom, like in some capacity. And we probably flip on like CJ or
Yes.
or Gabby or whoever. I don't think she's really like tied to anybody that much.
Right. That's why I think it's interesting that they're not even really thinking about me in this conversation but I think maybe Zach's intention is like, oh, CJ, you need to convince Allie we don't have Jess. He knows that I'll still vote, and then we get 5 votes. That could have worked.
Yeah.
So CJ thinks it's going to be a tie, but it's actually going to be 5-3.
Yeah.
But
Something else.
I think we could have maybe tried to get some more work getting Allie fully on board with this, like in a group conversation.
Yeah. There's too much talking happening. The other thing I wrote down when Zach is explaining that Allie is on the bottom, you're kind of confused, Dylan, and you're like, bottom? She's a bottom? That's how I read it. Like it seems like you don't really understand what that means. Like, and he kind of explains what being on the bottom means in this game. Like,
and if you could refresh my memory, what would you say
right now?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I guess being on the bottom just means like she's kind of in the bottom of like the girls group, right? Which is to say that she might be the first one plucked out.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, like in an alliance, there's usually some sort of hierarchy. So Zach is saying that like on that hierarchy, Allie is here, and like the people making the decisions are up here.
But how does he even know that? Didn't we just merge?
I guess
he was kind of right, I guess.
Yeah. I think he was kind of talking out of his ass a little bit and happened to.
Yeah. But I do think there's some like vibes you can suss out with that kind of thing, just from like, noticing like who's talking to who and like that kind of stuff. Like if 2 people are talking and they look like they're having like a really serious conversation, and another 2 people are talking and maybe it looks like they're just like sort of talking just to talk. But it is all extremely like circumstantial guessing.
Yeah. So
when you don't know the hierarchy.
I also think another part of this is time. Like, this is the end of the conversations.
Well, yes, there was. I also have anecdotal stuff to talk about with like stuff that was not filmed right before tribal, that I can talk about. But yes, no, like totally, time was a huge issue in this round because you're merging 2 completely different dynamics of people who have not had any type of personal or game conversations this whole day because we're completely kept separate, and then like having those dynamics like restructuring themselves minute by minute, only having like 30 minutes or whatever we had was extremely tough.
Yeah. And then also having like double the amount of people to choose from to vote.
Right. Yeah.
So we cut to tribal.
Well, do you want me to talk about what was talked about? Yeah, I just told you there's more.
Goodness.
I have. Yes. So there's while the Zach conversation's happening, none of this was filmed. The girls are talking together, and I like walk up to the girls group. They're all talking. The like Dylan, CJ, Zach trio are talking. I'm completely by myself, and I'm like, I guess I'm walking up to the girls group. So I go up and like I'm like, oh my god, hey guys. And then I think Gabby's like, so CJ, we're good with CJ, like kind of like acting like she's continuing the conversation. Wouldn't look at like me in the eye at all or anything. Like it was very clear that
that's when you run to the Dylan, CJ, Zach group.
I know.
Like, okay, so they're voting not CJ.
But we didn't have the numbers, so I don't know.
Come with me.
Listen. It was all very happening very fast. Yeah, so it was just terrible vibes from this first merge round, just like completely all around. So then we disband with this loose, soft plan to vote out CJ because we're like, the girls got to stick together. He's a strong guy, whatever. So then I'm walking away, and then I go to Allie, and I'm like, I felt like I had an okay conversation with her out of all the people I tried to talk to. I felt the best with, and I was like, so like the CJ thing's really happening, yeah? Like, and then she's like, yeah. And then Olivia hears me, and Olivia comes up to me and she goes, okay, no, this is a girls' alliance. We're voting Zach. You have to vote with us. If you don't vote with us, you're next. Like, basically, is what she says.
Whoa,
and you
that's
can't
a
tell, you
threat.
can't, and you, well, this is how it felt in the, I don't know exactly how like threatening she was being. No, but it was extremely like, she was like, it's do or die. If you do it, you're with us. If you don't, you're out, basically.
I kind of
like,
live for that. Well,
yeah,
and see,
I'm
that's why, like, I roast Olivia all the time, but it's because she's good competition, and I love that she was just like, enough of the bullshit. We're
Yeah.
voting this way. Like, if you want to join us and you want to be safe, do what we're doing, and if you
Mhm.
don't, then you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I
did
know,
appreciate this.
sorry, Dylan, I know that you kind of were like, oh, like I'm not like strategizing or like thinking about these things, but I think people respect when people are like straight up with them.
Yeah.
Like in Olivia, it like her honesty or like seemingly honest like nature or whatever. Like I think people are really receptive to that, and that's why like
Yeah.
someone like you or her like stay around a little bit longer. Like you can't like take the social game for granted here.
That's fair, because I always think of the social game as exactly like the opposite of being straight up. Like I feel like when I think of good social game, I think of just lying your way through everything, but I guess it's not really that, because
Well, there's
that
social, then there's strategy.
Yeah.
Social
yeah,
is more
that's
about
true.
like the way you talk to people, like how people like
Yeah.
you and want to keep you around, you know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tea.
But yeah, so I completely agreed, because I felt like I was like, thank God you told me this, Olivia. And then I immediately was like, I cannot work with Caroline or Allie, because they both have been bullshitting me like all round, you know? And I was like, then just like completely blindsided with this information. And this is happening while we're walking into Tribal. And Zach intercepts me and is like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Who, like, what's happening? Fill me in on this girls' conversation. I'm like, it's you. Like, and I'm currently thinking, like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I just go with the girls? Do I stick with Zach? Like, what is happening? And he was like, no. CJ's gonna flip. We can tie it up at Olivia. Like, if we vote Olivia, we can tie it up. And then I was like, Zach, I think I really might need to just flip if I have any chance of like moving forward with in this game. Like, I think it's going to be you no matter what. I think I have no chance of saving you. And he was like, okay, well, if you're going to vote for me, I'm going to play my shot in the dark. And I was like, well, do you really think CJ's flipping? Because like, I will vote for Olivia if you think that there's a way you can stay. But if I'm losing you today, like, I need to be voting with the girls, basically. And he was like, I really think CJ's gonna flip. So we're going on this like, and honestly, we're sitting down at Tribal and we're still talking about it. Like, I'm still like, because I'm being honest with him, being like, I really don't know what I'm gonna do here. Like, I have to think about my own game. I think you might be doomed, you know? And then I ultimately tell him, I will vote for Olivia. Don't play your shot in the dark. And that's, what happens.
Yeah.
Whoa. And you vote for Olivia?
Yes, I voted for Olivia. You voted for Olivia, but CJ never forced a tie. So
Right.
what? I guess I'm thinking right now. It's Allie, Caroline, Olivia, and Gabby, and then is it 8 people total? And then it's me,
Yeah.
Jess, Zach, CJ, like on the other
Yeah.
side of things.
Well,
Mhm.
CJ
So
voted against Zach.
yeah, CJ just like
oh,
yeah,
and that was
CJ
the
just
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
He was just
CJ was
bullshit.
going to vote for Zach?
Yeah.
So it
Yep.
was really 5 against 3.
Yeah. But
Yep.
props to CJ here, because he convinced you guys that he was gonna work with you and clearly didn't really want to follow.
Yeah, but here's my thing though, is I think he wanted to follow it. I think that he was scared to do so.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened.
That's
but
fair.
I mean, if you got to save your own ass, if you don't know how a tie works, the safer thing is just vote with your alliance. Like, Zach's the easy person to vote for.
Something else. It was so painful, and still is so painful, to see that advantage just swinging in the wind.
Yeah.
It's just like doing a little dance, like right in front of you and Zach. It's just like,
I know.
And do you know what that advantage was?
It was, and knowledge is power.
It was knowledge is power. Jessica, can you explain what knowledge is power is to Dylan?
Okay, well, a knowledge is power advantage was also, by the way, a brand new advantage in the Survivor verse at the time. It's basically, if you know someone has an idol at Tribal, you can stand up and say, so and so, give me your idol, and they can't stop you. So we fully could have like had it stood up and said, Olivia, give me your idol. Everyone knew Olivia had the idol. We would take her idol from her and we would have been able to save Zach.
Whoa.
And does that happen after votes are done though?
So they probably
So.
either they probably would have talked about flipping the vote to
Yeah.
you. But
Yeah.
I think you guys would have known that was happening and the idol would have been played on you.
I think so too. But it is risky. It is
Yeah.
still obviously risky.
That's a good play though.
It is. It's definitely the better play than forcing the tie. I also, looking back now that I'm talking about it, I think that I should have just voted with the girls to save face and then just told Zach to play his shot in the dark. But, you know, then like that was another reason why they didn't want me to tell him, was so that he wouldn't play his shot in the dark. So I don't know that it would have really like changed anything.
All right. We've been talking a lot and we do still have to
yes.
Zach in here.
I know. Poor Zach has been waiting.
I think we're just gonna bring him in.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right. So when we return, Zach will be with us. Great. Zach, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
Not obviously we would like to see you in other circumstances here.
Mhm.
Same, but honestly, I was thrilled with how I did. I thought that I was going to be one of the very earliest boots because I knew almost no one besides Caroline going in, and I was immediately separated from her. So making it to merge, I was okay with. I was not happy in the moment, but
that's something that stood out to me as well. Like you were very not connected. You and Dylan, we talked about that, Dylan, as well, but like you two lasted longer than maybe people thought you were. Why do you think that was the case?
I think at least I had a very anyone but me mentality at the beginning while I was trying to establish connections. And I also think that having Liz and Dom on the same tribe helped a lot, because that we were able to paint them as targets really early on because they were a couple. And so you'd be like, you don't have to worry about me. Like, we had this big threat there. And so that helped. And then I was kind of able to establish connections and weasel my way to the merge.
Yeah. And we've all said this. You're a very good talker, right? And which got you out of sticky situations at the Dragon Fruits camp.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to be successful for you when it came to the merge. Why do you think that is?
I think it was a few things. I think it was we didn't have a ton of time, which I think did not help at all. Because I think when we got there, I was a lot more hopeful that the other tribe would be kind of willing to talk and have those kind of conversations. But when I was almost immediately iced out of most of the people who I like really wanted to work with on the other tribe, that I like all of a sudden like my brain was like, how do I get myself out of this situation? And there weren't many options. Like I thought that Caroline would at least talk to me. She didn't. She literally like shrugged when I tried to talk to her. And I was like, okay, I guess I know I'm going now. I really want to work with Allie. That was new. I didn't even get to talk to Allie at all that entire time. And so when I was only able to talk to, I think it was like Olivia, CJ, pretty much out of the other tribe. And so I was like, what can I do? And especially because like Olivia got the idol like immediately when we got back to the merge camp, and I watched her get it. And so I was like this close to having that safety because I was right behind. So it's that combination of things plus just like, yeah.
I have a question for you. Did you know what that advantage was?
Like what the thing that she got was?
No, like the dangling advantage under my chair. Are you aware of what that was?
It was the knowledge is power, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We just were talking about that, and it is so tragic because I think that whatever way you would have played it, like even if they flipped the vote, I think you would have also known that they were going to do that and you guys would have been safe.
Yeah. I feel like they wouldn't have had the foresight to think about them thinking about us thinking about flipping.
They would have thought one step ahead, and that's all.
Yeah, so they would have thought flip to Jess, and I think we would have anticipated.
Something else I noted here, and this is a part of the podcast which has been discussed so far, is that you and Jess are sitting on the floor. Dylan, this entire deep dive, I have been paying attention to who is not sitting in a chair or who has a chair broken, because when people get eliminated, what do? They bring up their chairs. That means that chairs represent life in this game. Usually it's fire, right? But we don't have fire. So I just had people walk
Mhm.
in their chairs. And one by one, people who have either been on the ground or I'm maybe looking forward to the future, have been crossed out. Dylan, you have not been on the ground yet. You were eliminated, but guess what? You're back in.
A queen doesn't sit on the ground.
And that's just something to think about, okay?
You're muted,
Your
Dylan.
sound is fully off, Queen.
Well, I wasn't really saying anything of note anyway, but that's fierce. Ooh, did you only realize that like as you were editing?
I just was thinking about like how funny it was that I made them come up with chairs
Mhm.
because we didn't have torches. And then I was looking at who was not in a chair, and it just was interesting, that's all.
Yeah.
And we're just keeping an eye on it as we move forward.
Yeah, we're just looking. So Zach's gone. I was on the ground. Think about it.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, I also like that you pointed out the hierarchy of the other alliance. And again, you say pay attention to where you're seated. First of all, you're on the ground. But
Yeah, I also thought that was funny. You literally saying pay attention to where you're seated.
and I am paying attention to where everyone's seated.
Yeah.
Okay. But aside from the curse, obviously, there's like a split directly down the middle, like tribe lines.
Mhm.
At that point, did you think there was like any way that CJ was going to stay with you, considering?
I thought, based off of like the conversations that I had or had heard from the other tribe, that they wanted to get out CJ. I was like, this makes the most sense to try to go to Rocks and to
Mhm.
like create this crazy plan, which like would have had. Yeah, I don't like I think that it would have been really great for everybody involved, but obviously, like I don't truly know like what their actual dynamics are. So he
Mhm.
definitely had a better idea. I think also the fact that I don't know if he knew what rocks were exactly, and I
Yeah,
tried to
I don't think
explain it
so.
to my best, and I don't know if it fully clicked. So like when I came back at the like end, like literally whispering to him at tribal, like I'm not sure if that fully clicked. So that was not that helpful, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that we discussed as well. Like, even if he had gone along with the tie plan, I think that once I explained that rocks mean that now he's in jeopardy, I feel that he probably would have flipped.
well,
Yeah.
so my plan was if we tied to be like Olivia has an idol, flush it now, and then you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about it and get someone else to
Fair.
flip. Like that was my
Yeah.
logic. I didn't think they were gonna go to rocks for me. Like
Yeah. Right.
But I was like, maybe I can get someone to flip and realize you can get out a threat right now, somebody who
Yeah.
has safety that when you whittle down your numbers, like I had no power at that point. Nobody was
Mhm.
talking to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
get rid of a threat now, but I don't know if it actually would have landed.
Yeah. I actually think that Allie might have like been thinking once like we just like truly didn't get like to
Well,
talk in a
here's the other
meaningful
thing.
way.
I was like fully anticipating some sort of live tribal was gonna happen, but everyone was just so complacent, being super vague that
Yeah.
that didn't happen. Like this would have been a great opportunity for people to be like, all right, CJ, like what's happening? Or like, Allie, let
Right.
me talk to you real quick.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. I didn't want Olivia to play that idol. Like that was because I knew like as soon as that happened, I was
It was
completely
over.
done.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hopefully we can keep this secret. And then
Right.
it would have blown up as live tribal if there was a tie, was the goal.
Yeah. I know. And we were live tribaling, me and Zach on our own.
Dylan,
But
because I'm assuming you're confused about the term live tribal. That's really when like you break the structure of like I talk, now I ask you a question, now I say something, then you answer it. That's when like someone, Zach goes, all right, I need to go say something to someone across the room. I'm gonna get up and whisper in their ear, and like all chaos ensues.
Yeah, that's when that often happens when like after there's a tie or something, and then
Yeah.
they're like, okay, well now we need to revote, and people just start talking.
yeah.
Right. Instead of like
no one
like,
wants to
open
be
conversation, there's like secret side conversations happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always iconic. I do think that would have been extremely helpful. I also think that like I'm one of the only people that would have probably gone to rocks for Zach, just because I think that the way that I viewed my position in the game was like, if with Zach gone, I have no chance at like climbing my way out of this pit, basically. Which I don't know if that's true or not, but that was how I was perceiving my like position at the time. It was like I truly thought that we were just gonna go one by one.
Yeah.
Same.
Anyway, so you come back for next season, right? But thinking back to before that happened, is there anything that you like learned about yourself that you applied to that season?
I think I trusted myself a lot more than I did the first season because I think I was just genuinely so terrified that I was going to be the first boot because I literally knew no one. So as soon as I was able to make it that far, I was feeling like I could kind of trust my social skills to get me to a certain point in the game. And so I needed to kind of like relax a little bit and kind of give myself more time to think about things. But also I really think that the first like time around was a lot of just unfortunate. It was an unfortunate tribe. There was really nothing.
Yeah.
I think I did everything in my power to go as far as I could in the game, and I was happy with where I ended up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you did a good game.
Yeah, the thing I always credit with the like fault of whatever downfall is just the time was just so tough for most of it.
For sure. Yeah. But Dylan and Jess move on and you're gone.
We
unfortunately.
persevere.
You are on the jury. And I think it's time to crown an episode MVP. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do
All right,
it.
did we come up with a name?
I have one name
Okay.
that I came up with pretty quickly because there's just a lot that happens this episode. The first name that floated into my mind was Olivia. Finding the idol, the two idols, hiding the one, sharing information about the other because she was found out about it, and also just maintaining the hierarchy of the succulents throughout the whole episode was, I think, very good. I also, the thing that happened off camera where she like tried to get me to flip on Zach, which I did not film, but talked about, she's shaking things up, and I appreciated her gameplay this episode.
Yeah,
I think
I would agree with that as well. Also, I think she has a good read on this vote where she knows that she doesn't really have to play it because she has the numbers. Also, shout out to Dylan here.
Yes.
The redemption challenge was great. And again, I think the rapport that you build with the other tribe, it's really like non-threatening. I think you do a really good job at that.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah, I definitely feel like this is where I peak in this season, at least for me. Like I feel like the redemption arc and like whittling my way into the other tribe, mainly because like I knew that Jess and Zach were like two peas in a pod, and like that I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to continue if I stick with these two fuckers. So I have to do something. So
yeah. I will say Olivia being shocked about the fact that she got any votes was not something we got to talk about. And yeah, I would say that does signal to me maybe not the best read on all aspects of the game.
We did cut the episode deep dive a little short because we were talking too long. But I do want to note that when she gets a vote or two votes, she got three altogether, but she goes, and I didn't lie to anyone. I'm like,
yeah.
But like that's not what this game's about.
Right, yeah.
You should have lied more then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I mean, to her credit, I think that she did have pretty good jury management at this point because she was one of the only of the succulents that even talked to me. Even though I did end up voting for her in the like end of like this episode, it was mostly because she had the idol and because she was theoretically one of the least connected people on that tribe. So maybe in the chance of a tie, the other tribe would flip to vote her out instead of voting out one of their like longtime friends. And so like that was literally the only reason why like logically it made sense to vote her. It wasn't because if any in many other situations I wouldn't have because she gave me that chance would actually talk to me.
Yeah. I also think that it was very clear that she was doing well in the challenges, and so it was like it just all made sense. It was like get her gone, and also like hopefully we'll have a chance of winning a fucking immunity challenge.
Right.
I'm kind of torn here because like one part of me wants to give Dylan credit here, but then another is the Olivia. It's like the idols versus the redemption versus like,
Yeah.
the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, what did
also-
you say? Wait, did everyone say their MVP that they picked?
Oh, I guess I would probably also pick Olivia only because like I genuinely the only time I ever knew what I was doing was when I was doing the redemption challenge. Everything else was just like, you know.
So
So I think I just like in retrospect appreciated and I think throughout the entire game I just consistently appreciated Olivia's like prowess and her ability to like just keep all of her shit in order. That was something that I was not good at. Like there was some point, I don't remember when in the season, but there was some point where like there was a lie that I was keeping and then I accidentally like revealed it. Just like a lot of mess, you know. Now I know for next time.
yeah. So are we crowning Miss Olivia?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Alright.
So congratulations, Olivia. I know she's honored to accept this award. Dylan, you can accept on her behalf.
Sure. It's honestly it's just an honor to be nominated. So
Yeah. So congrats, Olivia. And that concludes our episode 6 deep dive.
Yeah.
Very fun. This has been fun to do. So thank you both for coming and speaking with us for what, an hour and some change, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm always happy to listen to myself talk. So you just text me
Oh, we
whenever
know.
you want.
All right. Until next time, ma'am, signing off.